Today I'm going to show you how to engrave acrylic on your Cricut Maker or your Cricut Maker 3. I'm also going to share a few tips on how to make sure you have the perfect placement with your engraving projects. If we're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest. For our project today, you'll need to use the Cricut Maker or the Cricut Maker 3. You'll need the Cricut Engraving Tool, which is right here. You'll need your purple strong grip mat, some tape. You can use masking tape or painter's tape. You'll need some acrylic blanks. These ones already have a hole in the top of them. And you'll need some key rings, and you can also add some tassels. You'll need a weeding pen as well as some jewelry pliers. So let's jump on to Cricut Design Space and get our designs ready. Now, before we begin, it's important that you've recently calibrated your Cricut machine. So to do that, you're going to go to the top left-hand corner of Design Space and go down to Calibration. Then you're going to select the middle option here, which is Calibrate with the knife blade. Now, when I've made keychains in the past and I only calibrated using the print then cut calibration, I found the calibration was off. But then when I went back and calibrated with the knife blade, I got much better results. However, you will need the Cricut knife blade in order to calibrate your engraving tool properly. If you don't have the knife blade, go ahead and do the print then cut calibration. However, you will get much better results if you calibrate using the knife blade calibration. So I've already done this, so let's press exit and we're gonna start a new project. Now our acrylic blanks are little 2-inch circles. So we're gonna go over to shapes and select a circle. Now Cricut has automatically sized this to 2 inches, and that's exactly what we want. But we don't want our circle to be a basic cut operation. So we're gonna go up under operation and change this to pen. And no, we're not using pens today. This pen mark is gonna work as our guide. You may be wondering then, Nisha, why didn't you select the guide operation here at the bottom? And that's because when you use the guide operation, when you press make it, you're no longer gonna see that guide circle. And I wanna be able to see this on the next page when we press make it. So let's zoom in here a little bit because our circle is small. And now I want to add some text to our keyring here. So let's go over to text, and I'm going to type in home, and I'm going to do all separate text boxes here. Sweet. And we'll do one more text box and home. Now under operation, our text is set at a basic cut operation, but that's not what we want. We're going to be changing the operation to engrave. Now, when you do that, you'll notice we have only the outline of the letters. So depending on the font you use, your design will be outlined and the inside will not be filled in. If you have a font that is only outlining your text, you can do something called a hatch fill. And I have a whole other video on how to do that. It is a bit of a process. So I will leave that video linked down below in the description. So if that's something you want to do, you can go check that out. With some of the Cricut fonts, if you go under style, you can select writing. And what that is going to do is make your font a single line rather than an outline. So if we were to use our engraving tool or our pen tool, we would get a single line instead of an outline. And you'll notice under operation, it did change my text to pen. So you would have to go back and change that to engrave instead. However, let's do a font that's a little more fun. So let's go over to fonts, and we're going to filter our fonts a little bit. So click on the filter box here. We're going to select a free one so that you can use this font regardless of if you have Cricut access or not. And we're also going to select a writing font. And then we can scroll down here and see what we like. Let's try this one here called Carly Sketch. And look how fun that is. So let's go ahead and change our other text to that same font. So we'll scroll down once again and we have Carly Sketch. Now back up to operation because all our text is set to pen again. So let's go ahead and change that to engrave. So do that for each of your text boxes. Now we're going to grab our text and place it on our circle. So you can go ahead and shrink your text down and place your words wherever you want them to go. Once you're happy with where your text is, you can go ahead and select each of your layers and then click Attach on the bottom right. Now make sure you're only selecting your text layers when you attach them together and don't include the circle in your attachment. One thing to keep in mind is the spacing around your design. We're going to be adding tape around our acrylic blank, and so we don't want our engraving tool to go over that tape, so make sure you leave a space around your text. Also keep in mind there is a little hole at the top of our keychain. So you also don't want to have any text or images going over top of that hole. Now you don't have to just do text with your keychains, you can also use designs. But keep in mind, just like the text, it will trace the outside of your design. So for example, if you wanted to add a heart to your design, you can go over to Shapes and grab a heart. Now if you change this heart to engrave rather than pen, your Cricut will draw the outline of the heart and will not fill the inside in. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm not going to do an image today. We're just going to stick to text for now. So let's delete our heart. And when you're happy with everything, we can go ahead and click on Make It. Now, because we didn't attach our circle and our text, they are appearing in two different spots on our mat. So what we're going to do is move around our circle and our text to find the best placement. So I suggest moving your circle 1 inch down and 1 inch over just to leave room for that tape. So we're going to line our circle up on our canvas. And that is easily done because this is a 2-inch circle, so you can easily see where that center point is on your mat. So line up the circle where you plan to tape down your acrylic blank. You can also use the keys on your keyboard to nudge your shape over in any direction. Now, once your circle is where you want it to be, it's in the perfect placement, grab your text and put that on top of the circle and line it up as center as possible, keeping in mind that we do have that hole at the top. Now, when you're happy with the placement, we're going to select that circle again. So right now I have Home Sweet Home selected. Now I'm going to click on the circle. Click on those 3 little dots, and then we're going to click on Hide Selected. So now that circle is gone and our machine will not do anything with that circle, but our Home Sweet Home is in the perfect spot. So let's tape down our acrylic blank and then we can press continue. So let's grab our acrylic blank and we're going to place this on our strong grip mat exactly where we placed it on our Design Space screen. So what I like to do is look at the hole at the top of my keychain and make sure that line number 2 is going directly through the center of it. And then using the grid marks to make sure everything is centered. So our acrylic blanks here come with a protective film on them on the front and the back. So before you go ahead and engrave your keychain, make sure you grab a weeding tool and remove that film from one side. You can keep the acrylic film on the other side while we cut it, that's fine. And then we can take that off afterwards. And then we're gonna grab some tape and secure this to the mat. It's always best to add tape around the entire design so that our blank here doesn't move while it's engraving. Now back in Cricut Design Space, we need to set our base material. You'll notice a number of our materials are grayed out here, and that's because you cannot use an engraving tool with those materials. We're going to click on Browse All Materials and scroll down until you get to plastic. And under plastic, we're going to select the thick acrylic, which is 2 millimeters. Now the blanks I have are 3 millimeters, but that's okay. We can still use the 2 millimeter function. So click on that and then click Done. Now under pressure, I like to add a little more pressure here. So let's click on More Pressure, and that will give us a bit more of a deeper engraving. Now Design Space is telling us to load our engraving tool in Clamp B, and then we can go ahead and load our mat. So we're going to remove our blade from Clamp B and then grab your engraving tool. Make sure your plastic safety piece is facing out towards you, and then we're going to clamp this in. One thing you'll also want to do is move your star wheels to the side. You don't want your star wheels to go over top of your acrylic blank, so make sure they are out of the way. And then you can go ahead and load your mat and get this engraved. And here is our engraved keychain. Now there's gonna be a lot of debris on your keychain afterwards, so you can peel the tape off from around your design and then go over top of your design, and that will pick up some of the debris. You can also run it under the tap to get rid of the debris, or grab a cloth and wipe it down. Now remember, we didn't peel that protective film off the back before, so now is a good time to do that. And this just came out perfectly center and looks so good. Now, I know my green mat here may be making it a little more difficult for you to see, so let's grab something here. Here's my pressing mat. Now, all we have to do is add our hardware. So I've got the tassel here and our key ring. So this key ring already has this chain on it, but I'm actually gonna take the chain off. And you'll see on this chain, we've got the big loop there and the smaller loop on the other side. So I want this big loop hanging out, so I'm gonna grab the smaller end and loop that back on my keychain. Now you can grab the tassel and also loop that on the key ring. And then you can grab your jewelry pliers and on our circle link here at the end, and then we're gonna twist the two ends away from each other. So we're not pulling out like that, but rather twisting. So I'm gonna hold the one side with my finger and the one side with my pliers, and then twist. Now, if you find that just a little too tough, what you can do is grab a second pair of pliers and grab the other end and use those to assist you. So I've opened that last link right up, and now we can add our acrylic keychain to our loop. You may need to let go of it with the pliers. We're gonna slide this on, and then grab your pliers again, and we're gonna close this up. And look how cute this turned out. It would make a great gift or a great embellishment on top of a gift. I think I'm gonna make a bunch of keychains for some loot bags for my daughter's party. I hope you enjoyed today's project, and hopefully soon you'll be making piles of your very own engraved keychains. If you're looking for a supply list of everything I used today, I will leave that link down below in the description. So go check that out, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.